House taking key vote on Trump's big beautiful bill after GOP holdouts threaten final passage. Okay, so this is by Carla Hubbard. And so there's been a lot of debate behind this bill and how it could affect people in the long run. So Washington House Republicans began taking a key procedural vote on President Trump's massive domestic policy bill late Wednesday evening after scrambling for hours to shore up support ahead of the self-imposed July 4th deadline. Okay, so that's their deadline to get the bill to the president's desk. So it remains unclear if the House Republicans have enough support to get the current version of the bill, so which squeaked through the Senate on Tuesday over the finish line. Before voting on the final passage, the House needs to vote on a resolution setting the rules of the debate for the bill. So the crucial procedural vote began Wednesday at around 9:30 p.m. after lawmakers spent much of the day hurtling amongst themselves with President Trump to sway skeptical voters, or said voters and members, that is. So as of 11 p.m., 4 House Republicans had voted no. Okay, so 4 Republicans voted no, which is theoretically enough for the rule vote to fail. But the vote is still open and the lawmakers can change from the no to the yes. So while voting on the rule was underway, House Speaker Mike Johnson told Fox News' Sean Hannity that he plans to keep the vote open as long as it takes. The Louisiana Republican said that he believes some lawmakers who voted no are open for conversation and their no votes are placeholders while they await answers to some questions about the bill. He said, "We believe that we can get everybody to a yes." So I'm absolutely confident that we are going to land this plane and deliver for the American people, Johnson said. So I've heard some people not that happy about any of these things because they say it cuts Medicaid, it cuts SNAP programs, it cuts some other programs that are much needed and for people who are more lower income or on fixed incomes. So these are the things I'm interjecting in there. There's been a lot of comments about how it could cause people to really struggle economically, so the impact could hurt a lot of people, and it could also cause people in terms of healthcare to lose their health insurances. So it's not a win-win for everyone. So it goes on to read in the article that House GOP leaders are aiming to move ahead quickly on the signature legislation of Mr. Trump's second term agenda, which includes ramped up spending for the border security. That was part of the bill. Defense and energy production, extends trillions of dollars in tax cuts, partially offsets substantial cuts to health care, and nutrition programs, which is SNAP, healthcare, which is Medicaid. But some House Republicans who voted to pass an earlier version of the bill in May are unhappy with the Senate's changes, so potential holdouts, including moderates and members of the conservative House Freedom Caucus, met with Mr. Trump on Wednesday as the White House put pressure on the House Republicans to get the bill across the finish line. So one lawmaker called the meetings very productive, but the GOP representative Andy Harris, Maryland, the chairman of the conservative House Freedom Caucus, told the reporters earlier Wednesday that he expected the procedural vote to fail in the afternoon. So, in a possible sign of movement, one key Republican Ohio Representative Warren Davison announced on X Wednesday even that he supports the bill. It isn't perfect, but it's the best we'll get. So he wrote, adding that he would support the rule and final passage. So Davison was one of the 2 Republicans who voted against the bill, and when the House first voted on the measure in May. So the president kept up the pressure, posting on Truth Social about June's low border crossing statistics and adding, all we need to do is keep it this way, which is exactly why Republicans need to pass the one big beautiful bill. That is what it's called. Immigration agents need more help, and they are counting on Republicans to get it done. So Mr. Trump wrote this. So we had a great conversation all day, and the Republican House majority is united for the good of our country, delivering the biggest tax cuts in history and massive growth, Mr. Trump wrote on Truth Social before voting began. So several members of both sides of the aisle had their flights canceled or delayed by bad weather as they raced back to the Washington for the vote, delaying the process. So all Democrats appear to be on hand for proceeding by Wednesday afternoon. Republicans can only afford 3 defections, and all members are present and voting. If all members are present and voting. So the House Rules Committee advanced the Senate changes to the bill overnight, setting up the action on the floor. GOP Representatives Rouse Norman of South Carolina and Chip Roy of Texas joined the Democrats on the panel to oppose this rule. So both are among the group of hardliners who are likely to oppose the procedural vote in the full House. So what the Senate did is unconscionable, Norman said. So I'll vote against it here, and I'll vote against it on the floor until we get it right. So some people are not really happy even within these arenas. I'm hearing some Republicans are not for it. So hours later, Norman returned to the Capitol following a meeting with Mr. Trump and other House Republicans. He described the meeting as very productive, but didn't say whether he will ultimately vote a yes, telling reporters he's still trying to learn more about how the bill will be implemented if it passes. So Johnson has spent weeks pleading with the Senate counterparts not to make any major changes to the version of the bill that had passed the lower chamber by a single vote in May. So he said that the Senate's bill changes went a little further than many of us would have preferred. So the Senate's passed bill includes steeper Medicaid cuts, a higher increase of a debt limit, and changes to the House bill's green energy policy and the state and local tax deductions. So those are the issues I believe that he was taking up. Other controversial provisions that are facing pushback in both chambers, including the sale of public lands in nearly a dozen states, 10-year moratorium on states regulating artificial intelligence, and an excise tax on renewable energy industry were stripped from the Senate bill before heading back to the House. Johnson said that Wednesday that we are working through everybody's issue and making sure that we can secure this vote amid the opposition. So he added that he and the president are working to convince everybody that this is a very best product that we can produce. So I feel good about where we are and where we're headed, Johnson added. Harris told reporters Wednesday that the president should call the Senate back into town to come to an agreement on changes to the bill. So GOP leaders, however, said that the House would vote on the Senate bill as is. So should the House make changes to the bill, the revisions that is, would require the Senate's approval, or force the two chambers to go to conference committees to iron out a final product that the two bodies could agree on, jeopardizing the bill's timely passage. So Representative Dusty Johnson, a South Dakota Republican, seemed optimistic after the White House meetings with holdouts Wednesday, saying Donald Trump is closer to adding that members are moving to a yes. It's almost like they're waiting for the no's to turn into a yes. Is what it's looking like, even though it may not be a good idea for most people, that is. from what I've been hearing. A lot of people been complaining about it all over social media, just like regular people that live everyday lives have not been that excited about it. That they know it's going to cut off programs that they might need. I've heard the complaint about the healthcare, the Medicaid being cut, and all of the much needed programs that some people could end up running into disastrous situations where they might even lose their healthcare insurances altogether. So it goes on to say that I know there are some members who think that they're going to vote no right now, the South Dakota Republican said, but I think when the choice becomes failure or passage, they're going to understand that passage beats the hell out of failing. So GOP Representative or Republican Virginia Foxx of North Carolina likewise urged House Republicans to get the bill to the president's desk on Wednesday. So President Trump has his pen in hand and is writing for the House to complete its work. So Foxx said, "We've championed this legislation for months, so have guided it through the appropriate process, and now we're on the 1 yard line." Meanwhile, with the few levers to combat the bill's passage, House Democrats spoke out forcefully against this legislation, so which I've heard their rebuttal. So if you ever get a chance to look at this, what you see on the would be my right, maybe it's your left or your right, you see them where they're in that room, and that's where they're on agreeing to the resolution and amended Republicans, Democrats, Independents, and the totals time remaining. So that's where they have their voting on of this bill. So we will not stand by and watch Trump and his billionaire friends destroy the country without putting up one hell of a fight, Democratic Republican Jim McGovern of Massachusetts said, calling the bill a massive betrayal on the American people. So this is the rebuttal of this bill. So Jeffries said that every single House Democrat will vote hell no against this one, this big ugly bill. It's not a big beautiful bill in terms that they say, while adding that all we need are 4 House Republicans to join us in defense of the constituents who will suffer mightily from this bill. Democratic leaders called out some Republican by name, including Representative Rob Buchanan and Scott Perry of Pennsylvania, Representatives David Valadao and Young Kim of California. So those are some people who are probably the no's that they're trying to change into yeses. It's unconstitutional, it's unacceptable, it's un-American, and the House Democrats are committing to you that you're going to do everything in your power to stop this, Jeffrey said. So all we need are 4 Republicans, just 4. So that's pretty much this article right here. So like what I was saying, a lot of people spoke a lot about the health care, the Medicaid being cut. That's a big biggie. And about, I heard Trump mentioning something about coal. And then he's going to give money, and I think he's already gave money to immigration efforts. So they're going to get a big bump up to continue deportations. And I had some other videos earlier. I want to say this before I end this video. Mind you that a lot of the stuff that I'm getting is things that I've really paid attention and done homework on. I really not only just reading the articles, but I've also looked at the news feeds and I've kind of studied it, and I'm kind of like paying good attention to it. And then I'm listening to like just regular people on social media, the comments that they're making, the things that they're passionate about, and how it affects the communities. So I'm taking it in as a whole, so it's not just something off the top of my head that I'm making up. Also, keep the comments respectful. I know some people agree or they agree to disagree. Let's have educated comments. Let's let's be respectful of people's opinions, and also be respectful on people's platforms. And I know one thing I don't do, I don't belittle people and put people down, but I notice we got people that either they're probably too young to understand what's going on and how it's going to affect them, or they're just really ignorant about the situations altogether, and they're getting their information from misinformation. So they rather just go on somebody that's popular that has 1.2K followers, or the likes and the clicks and the excitement and all the drama and the TikTok drama and all that stuff. Okay, well, that's well and good and fine, but I stick to things that are more factual, things that are more hardcore to the point, and things that are going to benefit the communities, not bring the communities down anymore. I don't believe in that, bringing women down and hurting women and saying nasty stuff on people's pages and things like that. But I will speak back. So I'm just letting you know, I think that we all could benefit from each other's ideas, whether we agree or disagree, but it's the way that you address things. And if you address things in a decent manner, then I'll respond to, or not respond and just let it stay there, and other people can chime in and respond on what they agree or disagree on. I'm all for that. But if it's going to be nasty comments and trying to bring people down and being negative and like you're violent, then I'm going to delete your comments. So let's have some what you call some adult and respectful dialogue. That's all I'm asking. All right. So what do you think about this bill? Some people not really knowing too much about it. They're just learning about it, and then some people maybe don't really care. They don't think it's going to affect them. And then maybe some people are passionate about it because they've done their homework as well, and they know how it can affect them. They might be on these programs like SNAP programs, Medicaid. They know if those things are cut, that it might drastically change their circumstance if they have health issues that they're currently dealing with, and they have to go to the physicians. They have to pay for medicine. I know some people that are younger, maybe they're not at that age where they have any issues that they got to constantly be going back and forth to the doctor for. So they may not be able to understand this, but some people are extremely passionate about it. So just please, guys, be respectful. Thank you.